of the things that the consolidation process threw up was the issue of rogue bank CEOs. How can we continue to keep an eye on those who are keeping our money?
Very good. You keep eye on those who are keeping our money through 2-3 different channels. I'll start from central bank, but there are also other channels by which you can keep your eye on them. Strong regulation is very important because the other side of having banks that are very strong and resilient is that they become too big to fail. They become systemically important. What do I mean by that? If anything happens to them, there's a domino effect on all the other banks. So, but with strong regulation, then you can keep an eye on them, which is why central bank came up with revised corporate governance codes for banks. They said they should no longer be evergreen. I mean, you're there for 15, 20, 25 years. Even if you started well, there will be a time when nobody will be able to look at you straight in the face on the board and say, hey, Mr. CEO, you're not doing it right. Because you probably knew when all of them came in and when all of them were appointed. So we had time limit for them. Once you do maximum of 10 years, you leave. There were also controls around insider abuse, connected people, and so on and so. Things you can never do, you should not do as an individual. So that is one. Very, very strong regulation is also important. But then, almost all the banks are also quoted on the stock exchange. So there is also the responsibility from the capital market angle. That's why SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, also has come up with very robust corporate governance policy, all around ensuring that you don't trade in your shares anyhow, you don't use information that is available within your company to make dirty money in the capital market, information that is not available to an average person. And of course, the Financial Reporting Council, Financial Reporting FRC, is also doing a good job on corporate governance in terms of what they can do and what they cannot do. So with all this array of regulatory action, I believe that we have enough regulation to ensure that they all behave well. But what is important is whether or not these regulations are being implemented diligently. I don't know. But I think we should step up and ensure that never again we should not have a repeat of what we had before that almost embarrassed the whole country.
You led the transformation of Wema Bank as CEO between 2000 and 2003, resulting in the bank's outstanding performances. What can banks do to remain profitable in this kind of economic climate?
Challenges and opportunities are two sides of the same coin. There are challenges today, but for me, these also present opportunities for Nigerian banks. If I were today's CEO, the first thing I would do is to make sure that I look at my risk assets. In other words, I ensure that my underwriting skills are sharpened to ensure that any credit I give out, there's a reasonable assurance that those credits will come back. Once a bank ensures that the risk asset is good and it keeps improving, the second thing is to watch your cost. Because if you don't, the quickest way to run a bank aground is through bad loans. If that doesn't happen, the other means is by ensuring that your cost is within your income. If, of course, then I look at the remuneration and then the reward system. The reward system should be such that would reward those who are hardworking, but it shouldn't be such that will put adrenaline in their vein and encourage them to take unnecessary risk for the bank, which is what usually happens. When a bank is under pressure to perform, then you lower your underwriting standard because you want to make quick money. And by so doing, what you do is you gamble on resurrection, and then the unexpected happens. So this is a time for banks to sit back and wear the conservative garb of a bank. Why then using services to boost deposit? In other words, you can, at the same time as you're ensuring that the quality of your assets are good, you then come up with very, very innovative banking products that will ensure that people patronize you as the first bank of choice. I'm saying that because in Nigeria, savings to GDP ratio is still very low. It's about 31% of our GDP. I mean, it's about 17, 18% of our GDP. If you compare to India, about 31%, or China, 50%, you know that if banks still come up with more innovative products, you can still build deposits, you can still achieve significant penetration into areas that were unbanked. These are things I believe today's bankers should do to survive these hard times.
Mr. Tunde Lemo, we thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
And we thank you for watching. Please join us next time when View from the Top returns. But between now and then, I ask that you please continue this conversation online at channelstv.com. Also follow me on Twitter at ModellySY and tweet me your thoughts on my conversation with Mr. Tunde Lemo. Thank you again for watching, and please join us next time.